Hello! Today we're going to talk about 4.9, solving quadratic systems. So there's two ways we can go about it. The first way, of course, is the same way we solved other systems. We did either substitution or elimination. Okay? Again, you can do graphing, but your answers may be decimals, right? And that's really hard to find unless you have your graphing calculator, and then you can find it there. But even then, it can give you a rounded answer. Okay, so I like to use either substitution or elimination. So let's start with substitution. So that's essentially they both are y equals. So set them equal to each other. 2x plus 1 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. Ooh, rough looking 3. Move that stuff over. We get x squared minus 2x. Those 2x's go away. Plus 1, so minus 1. We get negative 4. So we have an x squared. That means we can either solve it by factoring, completing the square, or the quadratic formula. Since we're missing the middle term, I'm just going to solve for x. So, hopefully you recognize that this is not just 2, but it's also negative 2. Okay, 2 and negative 2. Whenever you put the square root there, you have to put plus or minus. Okay, remember that. So we have 2 x's. So that means we have 2 solutions. Okay, because every x has only one y, right? So we plug them in. All right, so we plug them into our equation. I'll probably plug it into the bottom one. That's a whole lot easier. So the first one is when x is 2, we get y equals 2 times 2 plus 1. So y equals 5. So that solution is 2 comma 5. And my second solution is when x is negative 2. So y equals 2 times negative 2 plus 1. So y equals negative 3. So that solution is negative 2 comma negative 3. You cannot mix and match these. All right, it has to be 2 comma 5, and it has to be negative 2 comma negative 3. If you don't, then you're wrong. All right, another way of doing this is you could use the idea as elimination, okay? But it's only going to work, you have to eliminate y. Works with y. Because if you try to eliminate your x's, you have to eliminate both the x squared and the x, and it's too complicated. So elimination only works with the y's. So if I leave my first equation by itself, the second equation, I'm going to multiply it by a negative 1. So I get negative y equals negative 2x minus 1. So now when I add them, I get 0 equals x squared minus 4. And notice this is the same thing as this. So really, it doesn't matter how you solve it. Okay, it's the same idea. They get you to the same spot. Okay, so your final solutions are these 2 points. Okay, let's keep doing it. Okay, so let's see. I think, if I remember correctly, most of my students in the past preferred just setting them equal. So x plus 3 equals negative x squared minus x plus 6. I'm going to move everything over to the left side because I want x squared to be positive. I don't like this negative. So I get positive x squared, positive 2x, negative 3. That can factor to this, I believe. Yeah, because that adds up to 2 and multiplies to negative 3. There we go. So then we get 2 solutions here. We get negative 3 and 1. But remember, that's what your x's are. So we got to plug them in to figure out what our y's are. Plug in to find y. So when x is -3 and when x is 1. So y equals -3 plus 3. So that's just 0. And y equals 1 plus 3. So that's just 4. So we've got 2 points. -3, 0, and the point 1, 4. Okay? All right, so now let's do this one. Okay? I know it's a little different, all right, because remember this was, you had an x squared, and then this one was, well, what is that? Oh, that's just a line, right? We had a parabola and a line. This, we have 2 parabolas. You think it's any different? No, not any different. So, set them equal. X squared plus 7x plus 12 equals. Okay, move them all over to one side. So let's see. I'm going to move it all over to the left side. I'm going to get 2x squared plus 8x minus 12, okay, equals 0. I can factor. First step of factoring is always the GCF. Don't forget it. It saves your life. There we go. We get 2x can be 0. We get x can be 0, or x is -4. Plug them in. Oop, I meant to change the color. It does not matter which equation. So x is 0, so y equals 0 squared plus 7 times 0 plus 12. So our first solution, and when x is -4, get y equals 16 plus 7 times -4 plus 12, 16 minus 28 plus 12. 16 minus 28 is -12 plus 12. All right, so we get 0. So -4, 0. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And let's see, there's your solution. Okay, so let's keep working. Let's solve some more. So why don't you guys solve this one? Okay, pause it, give it a whirl. Okay, watch yourself. Make sure when you get to this part you don't start factoring it, because that is not factorable. Do not put x minus 4 and x plus 1, because that does not multiply to get +4. This is not factorable. So how do we solve it if we can't factor it? Quadratic formula. All right, pause, keep going. Like really, I meant do the quadratic formula. Okay, pause it, keep going. Okay, any bells and whistles going off? Okay, what's happening? We've got a solution. We've got 2 solutions. However, the square root of a negative means we have I. Well, I is imaginary. Okay, I'm writing it down because we need to have this memorized, and the more times I say it in Algebra 2, I hope it sticks, because this is going to keep popping up until the end of your senior year. So I is imaginary. We can't graph it. Okay, it's not real, so it's not a solution. Okay, we are looking for real solutions. All right, so we're looking for real solutions, which means this is imaginary, this is no solution. Okay, so my answer here is literally no solution. Okay, and how can we double check that? Okay, right, we can solve any of these problems using our graphing calculator by just graphing it and looking for the intersection. Well, if it's a no solution, what's the graph going to look like? You guys graph it? Did you figure it out? All right, here it is. All right, the answer, all right, is the graphs don't overlap. Okay, there's no point of intersection. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. So you can always graph it and look for the solution. There's no intersection. So that's another reason, that's the reason it's no solution. Okay, besides this imaginary answer. Okay? All right, let's do one more. All right, why don't you guys try this one? All right, pause it, give it a whirl. Okay, so here is my work for this problem. Okay, and I go and I double check my answer. Bam, I got the same thing. It does not matter the order you write your solution. Doesn't matter, just write them. As long as you have 0, 7 and -3, -11. All right. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask me in class. I'd be happy to keep going over this.